Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Game Informer Show. I am your host, Ben Hansen, joined by my trusty co-host for all special editions now, Ben Reeves.
Special edition co-host, Ben Reeves.
Can't get him out of here.
Yeah, it's on my business card.
We're also joined by two people all the way from Finland. We have Thomas Puha, who's the PR director and all-around good guy over there. Hello, Thomas.
Thank you very much. Good evening, guys.
And then we have the legendary Sam Lake himself.
Hello.
Hello,
How's
Sam.
it going?
Welcome. You know what I was thinking about this morning, Sam? I was thinking about you're a very popular guy over here in the comment section. It's a lot of questions just for you, people saying marry me, etc. I'm sure you get it all the time. And
That was from me, actually.
But I was thinking about how well your name translates to America. I mean, Finland, wonderful country, some tough names, but Sam Lake, it's the most American name. And I wonder if that's part of your appeal.
Well, it is a pseudonym I'm using. I have been using ever since Max Payne 1, writing for games. My real name is Sami Järvi.
Interesting.
That doesn't sound real.
Crickets. Yeah. And Sam Lake is direct translation of my name.
Oh, is that
Järvi.
literally what it means?
Järvi in Finnish is lake. There is a story to that. With Death Rally, Remedy's first game, actually quite a few of the names in the credit section of the manual of the game that were done by our publisher were misspelled. And also having my name misspelled for a few times for interviews and whatnot, I just decided to go for a pseudonym from that point on to make it easier for everybody.
So does anybody back home call you Sam at this point?
Yeah, well, quite a few people at Remedy do.
I still don't know which one to use. It's very confusing.
His Hollywood name or his normal name.
Just call him Mr. Hollywood.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So what we're doing here is we got a bunch of questions from the community. People wanting to know about Quantum Break, the new game you guys are working on with Microsoft. And we're hoping you can shed some light on a couple questions that are floating around out there. So it's not going to be nearly the 100 questions that we volleyed to you at the actual studio. It's going to be a lot easier than that.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, perfect. But just to follow up on that 100 questions thing, I saw a couple news sites picked up the story. They're like, well, Sam Lake confirmed Alan Wake 2 is in development. Here we go.
I saw that as well, yes.
What did you think of those news stories?
Well, yeah, afterwards, after we had done the interview, I was kind of like, did I say that? Yes, I said that. Okay, this is coming. Yeah, well, I mean, I remain enthusiastic and optimistic, and if you ask me, it's gonna happen, but obviously, you know, before it actually happens, nothing is certain, and we are talking with several different parties about this, but nothing has been, you know, signed or confirmed. So, but I am championing this cause. I really want to make it happen.
Awesome.
So just to be clear, you're like halfway through development then, or launching 2016?
It's just about done. Yeah.
Hey,
Sounds
so
like it.
I wanted to ask you too, before we dive into this, like with our coverage, with any sort of new attention you may have gotten for the game, are there any misconceptions you wanted to clear up right out of the gate? Is there like a recurring theme that you see in a response to Quantum Break coverage that you think is misguided?
No, I think that we are getting there with the messaging. Obviously, the show side of things and maybe the junctions, the moments of choice and that branching content, that is still something that we need to keep talking about and clarifying and hopefully closer to the release actually demoing so that everybody understands what we are trying to make here.
Is it just that it's a complicated thing to get across and that's why you haven't included it in the demos, or is it kind of a later part of development?
Well, it's a bit of both. Obviously want to really focus on showing the core of it, kind of the action and the story. But as we talked in earlier together, we have these two mediums, we have these two components. We have a AAA game, and then as a feature we have the show, and it's being complicated and challenging along the way to kind of knit these things tightly together, and polish to that section has been the last to come in. Just first kind of making sure that we have the game and we have the show, and then tying up all the loose ends and making sure that the crossovers click together. That has been very much kind of this fall kind of the last things to be iterated on and polished.
Gotcha. So just to kick things off here, Antagonist wants to know, how can I get an awesome accent like yours, Sam, outside of building a time machine so I can go back and grow up in Finland?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be the thing to do
for everybody.
Well, that's the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Strongly recommended.
Fair enough. Yeah, just double down on that one.
No, not hard at all.
Fair enough. Well, we got a couple story questions we wanted to dive into, and you seem like the guy to answer these. So first one comes from Joseph Samatanos Wargo. He's curious if will Quantum Break be a fairly linear story, or will it be more choice-driven?
Yeah, okay. We do have the junctions, which are clear moments of choice. That being said, our approach to this experience has been that we are essentially, if you look at the skeleton of the story, that remains the same. That kind of, it is one story, but this story is told from multiple points of view, and you do get to affect, certain plot points, fates of the characters, things like that along the way. We do not have multiple endings. That's worth saying. We don't have a growing spider web of branching content that kind of it's and in that sense it's not choose your own adventure. It is still one story, but that being said, we do have kind of dramatic moments of choice, which very, very fundamentally affects the fates of certain characters, what's happening in the world, and what kind of situations you end up with, what is the supporting cast of characters around you. Many things like that are very, very kind of in a fundamental way affected by your choices, but we in an action game way, the climax where we end up is still one and the same.
So did you guys think early in development about maybe having multiple endings? Is it just that you guys like to have a more authored content, more authored storyline, or is it just that if you want this game to be a franchise, it's tough to pick up from a fractured ending?
Yeah, part of it was the franchise thinking, definitely, that we wanted to make sure that we have a contained way or forward. So that's part of it, yes. But at the same time, we do feel that the ending that we have fits the story really, really well, and we are setting that up along the way. As said, you get to choose life or death for many important characters in the story, and you get to affect many setups and situations along the way. But it's fate and kind of questions about what can you change from the perspective of time travel are very much thematically at the heart of the story, and that does kind of affect the thinking of what fits into the story we are telling.
Gotcha.
Cool. Well, Reese Manic, he writes in another question. When writing a narrative that isn't constrained to a linear timeline, such as dealing with time travel and manipulation, did you guys come up with the story beats in a different manner or order than you do when writing a story that unfolds linearly? Does that question sort of make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Let's put it this way. There was many more drafts than in any of the previous games that we have done. There were quite a few times of iteration in the writing room where we felt that we had it figured out related to time travel, and then one of us during a story workshop suddenly goes white in the face and goes, "Uh-oh, guys, I just realized something," and everybody groans and don't say it's a plot hole, and it always was a plot hole, and then it was like, oh, back to the drawing board, we need to figure this out, and there were quite a few of those, for a long period of time. I think that we have it covered now. But obviously, once it's out there and exposed to a lot of gamers, we'll see. We'll see how fast somebody spots a problem in the story, and that's pretty much how time travel works. It does get tricky. I'm confident that we have it figured out quite well. Let's see.
You can always sit back and just play the act that you're smarter. Like, oh no, we thought of that angle, internet. It's just that we're a level deeper that you haven't realized yet.
The science, look into it.
Yeah. When the sequel comes out, you'll see. We had this figured out all along. Yes.
Well, I'm actually kind of along the same lines. I'm curious, when you wrote Max Payne and Alan Wake, did you even write those linearly, or do you have like certain beats that you like think of and then you try to work towards those?
Ending is really important to me as a writer. So usually I do have the ending figured out quite early on, and then a lot of kind of more vague content in the middle. I kind of feel that beginning and ending are obviously the most important parts, and a lot of flexibility in the middle. Also, I think that as a natural part of writing for a game, the gameplay does affect the mid part quite a bit. Like, this location would be awesome for this kind of gameplay, and then we figure out the way how to include it into the story. That happens a lot, but usually the beginning and the end are pretty much dictated by the story itself.
Cool. Well, we got a question from the Ultimate Spaz, who wants to know, what is the main character's background? No, it's not the way he said it, but I think he's specifically asking too about like how he's good at fighting, because he goes on to say, like, or does being the best friend with an unscrupulous scientist messing with time automatically make one combat savvy?
So, to clarify, Jack's brother is the scientist. His best friend is kind of a business guy. So Paul Serene is more a business type, marketing type of a guy who is the project director in time travel related project, but he's still not a scientist. He doesn't really understand the science of it. But Jack's brother William Joyce is the genius who has it figured out. So clarifying that. But Jack does have a bit of a wild side to him. As a young guy, he has had his run-ins with the law. Nothing really bad and criminal, but just, young guy, him and his best friend Paul, doing maybe slightly questionable things, just having fun and adventures. And 6 years before the events of the game, Jack has left his hometown Riverport to travel around the world, and it's tied to his problematic relationship with his brother. He just wanted to leave that side of that part of his life behind. He's been all around the world, experienced all kinds of things. So he has definitely used a gun before, for example. Nothing, extreme like being in a war zone or something like that. But he's been in troubled areas around the world. So in that sense, it's he can take care of himself when bad things start to happen.
So he's well traveled. That's kind of the answer.
Yes.
All right. Number 47. He writes in, so one of my favorite things about Max Payne games were the little remarks Max would make about various people or places in the world, usually drenched in cynicism. Is the protagonist of Quantum Break as sardonic as Max? And if not, is there a character with that kind of personality in the game?
Yeah, I mean, with Max, it was very much kind of this hard-boiled metaphor-laden narrative that kind of goes with hard-boiled crime fiction and film noir stuff. Yeah, that's not the genre we are after in Quantum Break. We do have, I mean, in Max Payne, we had his kind of cynical monologue going on, which fits the film noir tone. We are using a slightly similar device. We do have an interview situation as a framing story in Quantum Break. So there is this narrative voice going more in depth about what's happening and what the backstory is at time, because Jack is being interviewed. The reason he is being interviewed and what's the story around that is something that will be opening up bit by bit as you go deeper into the experience. But as a device, it's related to what we did with Max Payne, with kind of the hard-boiled narrative, and even in Alan Wake, where it's more like the writer reading from the manuscript of a novel. So we are using a similar device. That's kind of one of the things that we do, but it has a slightly different tone because this is part of the interview. But Jack, tonally, Jack isn't like Max, and answer is no. We don't have a Max Payne character running around in Quantum Break. Yeah,
save that for the sequels.
Sure. Yeah,
it's like Smash Brothers. Just get all the Remedy
get them all
characters
together. Alan Wake will be there. All right.
Yeah.
Shatterhand.
Would love to do that. Yes.
Yeah, get your characters in Smash Brothers. Everybody's doing it now. Shatterhand wants to know, why don't you guys make games set in Finland?
A good question.
Well, you were down here, so.
Yeah, you guys are there. Like, we've been there. It's great. There's a fortress down there. You guys have a Ferris wheel, the amusement park.
The two best things.
Yeah.
So never say never. But, so far, the inspiration for us has been pop culture all in all, and global pop culture or American pop culture, something that is something that has inspired us along the way, and also something that is familiar to wide audience. and that has been kind of the starting point for creative process. When we create a franchise, something that is familiar, that recognizable, and resonates with a lot of people, but obviously our spin of it, and something made into the interactive form. But never say never. Although Finland isn't really, if you look at in the global scale, pop culture, maybe Finland isn't the first thing that comes to your mind.
I know, you guys have that little hippo thing that's popular. What is that called again?
Moomin.
Moomin.
Yeah, moomins are awesome.
Yeah, see? Everybody loves those guys.
Worldwide. So Platosaur writes in and says, freezing time seems like a heavy advantage. So how are you balancing gameplay and keeping the challenge with time freezing in the game?
Yeah, so I understand that kind of looking at our demos and presentations, you can kind of get the feeling that, well, he's overpowered. But that's also part of the just for demoing purposes, so that we can clearly show what Jack is capable of doing. Believe me, there is plenty of challenge in the combat, and you will need to use your time powers in a smart way to survive and win against the enemies. For adventuring in stutter scenes, you will need your time powers to survive. For especially as the game goes onward, when we will be introducing Monarch elite troops with Chronon Tech, which gives them powers to manipulate time as well, you will be very much challenged. And yeah, so there is. I would say that in Quantum Break we have more depth and more variety and more different challenging situations and different enemy classes more than in any previous Remedy game. So I do think that as a player, there will be plenty of challenging combat situations.
Okay, I saw a couple questions along this line, and This World Begins With Us is basically asking a similar thing, which is he thinks it would be so cool to have a fight in the game where it's Paul versus Jack, and they're both freezing time in the middle of a collapsing building, and everything's going crazy. But I just wanted to give you a chance to clarify that you're not exactly controlling time stopping in the game. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I mean the stutters in time where everything freezes or breaks down into violent looping broken timelines for individual objects or parts of the scene. That is not something that Jack is causing. That's what the overall threat in the game is. It's time breaking down because of this fracture created by the science experiment that goes wrong, and that is escalating and leading towards the end of time, and that's something that you are trying to stop and fix as part of the narrative in the game. So that's not something that's controlled by Jack or the player. However, obviously you do have multiple time powers, time superpowers that you can use, and you can stop time, but in a focused area, something that stops an individual object or one or two enemies at a time. And you have different superpowers related to time, but overall, on the scale of the whole world, that's caused by the fracture.
Gotcha. Joker ACN has a simple question. Do you think the time manipulation gameplay in Quantum Break is going to be as fresh as Max Payne's gameplay was when it came out in 2001?
Yeah, I hope so. As said earlier, I do think that with Quantum Break's gameplay, there is a lot more depth and variety to it. There are multiple different time powers. You can kind of choose which ones suit any given situation the best. You can have preferences. You can have different tactics using these powers. There is even an upgrade system that where you can, in a limited fashion, but still very concretely boost different time powers along the way. So customize your time powers. So in that sense, compared to Max Payne's bullet time power, there is a lot more depth into the experience.
Gotcha. Nightmare wants to know about the replay value of the game. Other than just replaying the campaign, is there going to be something that's going to keep players coming back?
Yeah. So yes, I do feel that we have quite a bit of replay value. First of all, we do have the junction moments where you do get to make choices, and there is quite a bit of branching content both in the game and in the show. So on the show side, we have shot quite a bit of branching content and alternate scenes, which you get to see based on your choices. So that alone, I feel, gives you replay value. Then on top of that, as said, there is an upgrade system to your time powers. So you get to customize your powers, which also is part of a replay value. And we have all kinds of optional things to be discovered, quite a lot of collectibles to be found in the game. So all in all, I feel that we do have replay value in the experience.
But you guys are ruling out multiplayer at this point, right? It's just a single player game?
It's a single player only, yes.
Gotcha. Are there like challenge maps or anything like that you guys are ready to talk about?
No, not really. Yeah.
Okay, cool. A lot of people are wondering about, like, you've said that the TV show sections are like 22 minutes. Do you guys also have like a set time for the gameplay sequences in between? Is it going to be like 2 hours of gameplay, then 20 minutes of video, or is it going to be alternating throughout the course?
Yeah, it does alter a bit, and it's always kind of more tricky to say exactly what the gameplay time is, because obviously that varies because of people play it and experience it in different manners. I would say that we have something comparable to Alan Wake, which was 10 plus 12. Maybe Quantum Break is a bit tighter, but on top of it, there is the show, and there is clearly more replay value than there was in Alan Wake.
Gotcha. L.A. Sean wants to know whatever happened to the original actor with Quantum Break that you announced or showed during like the 2014 demos and stuff like that.
Yeah, so he's a LA-based actor, Sean Dari. He's a great guy. He is in the game. So you will play in Quantum Break. You will get to meet his character called Nick in the experience, and I'm sure that will be something memorable and enjoyable. But yeah, Sean Dari is a great actor, and it's been a blast working with him on this.
You guys consider any optional modes where you can like just play as him as the main character, like after you beat the game or something?
Like a mask from Zelda that you put on?
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the plans.
Or any unlockable Sam Lake characters or anything?
Not in the plans. But
all right.
Yeah,
You just don't know. You don't know.
You never know.
Okay, so yeah, maybe I don't know.
DLC or something, or when are you going to get into Smash Brothers? Is really what I want to know.
It's amazing how many people in the comment sections for like the Sam Lake video interviews that we've rolled out throughout the month have just been like, that guy looks like Max Payne. And then like 8 replies like, it is Max Payne, you moron. And everyone's like, what? Like people's minds are still being blown by the fact that Max Payne's face is a real guy. So congratulations, Sam.
I have never gotten that.
Actually, I mean, you guys are in Finland. Is there a fan community for Max Payne out there?
Not that I know of, thank God.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that. There's a couple of I think there's a Swedish site and there's quite a few sites sort of dedicated to Max Payne and to a lesser extent to Remedy. But obviously, the gaming community in general in Finland is relatively small. I mean, we only have like 5 million people here. But
so you're pretty safe in Finland. It's more like when you go traveling for work or conventions that you get recognized. Then
That's when the groupies come out. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Vince Vasquez, he has a question. If you guys are aware of the Sci-Fi Trion's Defiance game, it was the other like TV game show co-production. Did you guys look at that, and did that affect how you guys were tackling Quantum Break? Were you inspired by that at all?
Well, not really. I mean, we checked it out, but they had quite a different thing going from the very beginning. You know, ours is a single player experience and always has, and in many ways the show is a single player experience as well. So you get to make choices, and with that you get your own personalized version of the show. So yeah, it is different.
Sort of similar question from Charles Hartswell. He's curious, do you guys want the property to become a gaming franchise or ongoing show? He compares it to Powers for the PlayStation Network. Like, if you guys had the opportunity to break off the Quantum Break show and do like its own ongoing thing, would you guys do that? Would you be up for that?
Well, I mean, yes. Obviously, kind of from the get-go, when we start creating a new franchise, we are building a foundation for something bigger, something that can be more than just one game. And that has certainly been the case with Quantum Break. There is a lot of backstory that is, not fully explored in the first game or the show. There is just so much stuff in there. So definitely there would be opportunities. But also it's worth mentioning that Quantum Break is owned by Microsoft Studios. So ultimately the decisions on sequels or further shows or expansions like that comes from them.
Very nice. Lunchbox 700S, he says, the music in Alan Wake was great. Is there any teases you guys can give us about the music for Quantum Break?
Well,
can you hum some? Just give us a little hum.
Well, some of it's been present in some of the trailers we've released, but I mean the composer, of course, is.
Yeah, Petri Alanko composed the soundtrack for Alan Wake, and he is working with us on Quantum Break. Obviously, we are after a slightly different style that fits Quantum Break. So it's not like, recognizing songs that were present in Alan Wake. But, he has a lot of talent, great guy, and Alan Wake's soundtrack was fantastic, and really kind of happy with what we have going with Quantum Break as well.
Great. Tangential Shark, he asks, do Alan Wake and Quantum Break share the same universe? I remember seeing the protagonist wearing a Night Spring shirt in one of the 2014 gameplay videos.
Yeah, well spotted. No, I wouldn't say that they share the same universe, but that being said, I don't think that we can create a game where we wouldn't have some nods towards the other games and worlds that we have created. So definitely for fans of Alan Wake, there are things to discover in Quantum Break. Yeah.
By an extension, then Max Payne as well. You guys sprinkle some Max Payne.
Well, maybe some nods. Yeah, maybe.
Do you do that, do you think, strictly for the fans, or do you guys just love your own games so much that you get a real thrill out of kind of cross-pollinating all these things?
It's for the fans, first and a lot of work goes into these things, and many years of hard work, and I very much feel that it's important to remember to have fun at the same time, and not to take things too seriously. Long hours, a lot of work, and sometimes it does get a bit serious. So I think that having some Easter eggs and fun bits sprinkled in is also really important, and it's important for the team as well, so that they get to work on some of the some lighter stuff and winks and nods towards other things as well. So it is for us as well, not just the fans.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Stapsuck, he has a question. A few years ago, there was an online survey made by Microsoft going around regarding an Alan Wake remaster as a possible pre-order bonus for an Untitled game. Assuming Quantum Break was that game, will that be a pre-order bonus for the game? Or if not, is there an Alan Wake remaster? Can you guys still hope for one?
Yeah,
That's exactly how his question was worded.
Yeah, it's not a pre-order bonus that is in the plans. That I can tell you very clearly. Whether there will ever be an Alan Wake remastered, can't really say. At the moment, we have nothing like that in the plans. But obviously, if there would be a situation and an opportunity, we would definitely talk that through and consider. But at the moment, yeah, not in the plans.
Sure. And you guys, to be clear, like, you guys own Alan Wake, or is that a Microsoft thing? So that would be something where you could sort of more directly control.
Alan Wake is ours, yes.
That's great. Well, a lot of people were asking about this. What you guys thought of Max Payne 3? Did you guys have a chance to play that when it came out?
Yeah, I mean, Rockstar guys were awesome already during the development of Max Payne 3, and they wanted to bring us in as consultants. So we got to look at the game and give feedback on it, which was great and a fun thing to do. I think that it's a good game. I also kind of felt happy that they had very clearly made it their own. In the sense that it didn't feel like something someone was trying to imitate, creating a Remedy game. I felt that Max Payne 3 was very much a Rockstar game, and obviously they know how to make great games. So there was a different feel to it. That being said, having Max Payne's narration there, having the beginning be in New York, I felt that there were, I felt that it struck a nice balance between, where Max Payne was coming from and still took him into a totally new situation and new surroundings. So it was Rockstar's Max Payne, not necessarily something that would have come out under different circumstances, but I was happy with it.
Sure.
I enjoyed playing it.
Nice.
Do you think you would have done anything wildly different if you guys had made Max Payne 3? Did you think the South American setting was a little weird?
For sure, we would have done something very different. I think that any creative group would have done something very different. But that's kind of the beauty of it, and that's the fun of it. That people have different takes on things, and it's not about what's right and what's wrong. It's just a different flavor.
Definitely. Well, hey, that's the run of community questions. So thanks a lot, Sam and Thomas. Appreciate your time, man.
Thanks for your time. It was great.
Thank you. This was fun.
Is
there-
Guys, and
All right, we'll do it again tomorrow then.
It's been really, really awesome to see that. So really appreciate that.
Is there anything else you guys want to clear up or anything else you want to say about Quantum Break?
Well, I kind of like for what I wanted to add about the sort of why not base a game in Finland. It's like if you look at Alan Wake and you live in Finland, I mean, it's just like there's a lot of sort of Finnish in there, especially in terms of like how it looks and like ironically, when I walk to the bus stop from the office now, like the all the machinery outside is completely reminds me of like Alan Wake when they wake, you know, when they're possessed.
Lot of small towns, a lot of crazy people living in those small towns.
Yeah.
You know, getting drunk on moonshine. That's basically what we do here all the time. You know, half of the year sun is not rising at all. It's dark, and the other half people just go crazy because it's nothing but sunlight.
Yeah.
So a lot of inspiration to Alan Wake comes from what it is to be a Finn.
Sure.
And even in, like, it's not immediately obvious, but even in Quantum Break, there's clearly sort of like some of the locations are like, in some ways, very, very Finnish.
Interesting.
I know that sounds a little bit mysterious, but I mean, there's always a lot of influence, you know, from your surroundings in whatever you do. So
there's some Finnish pride flown into Quantum Break.
of course.
One thing I thought was interesting about your studio, which seemed like a Finnish thing to me, is like you guys have a sauna upstairs, which I don't see at a lot of studios. And then it's like right by the grills too.
Right now.
Oh, what's that?
The recording's over there.
Oh, it's very nice. Yeah. Well, it's like right by the grills too, so it's like people go up to like grill their lunch or something, and they could like run into a naked person.
Turn on the camera, maybe.
No, we're good. I think we're good here.
I
Give it a
think it's
PG
fine.
show here, Sam. We don't want any trouble.
We're actually in the sauna as well, so
We're very uptight Americans on this side, please. No skin allowed.
This is how we do saunas, fully clothed.
Yeah, they're a cooler bunch over there, man. They got saunas and grills on the roof. They're doing all right.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks again for your time, guys.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
And again, you can go to GameInformer.com/Quantum Break to see our entire month of coverage.
Yeah, it's pretty much all
so
up
if you
there
want to
now.
learn more or see more of Quantum Break, you can definitely go there. And otherwise, stay tuned in this podcast feed or on YouTube, because every Thursday we push the normal Game Informer show through here. So thanks a lot for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time.